Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. The National Symphony Orchestra performs The Princess Bride live in concert at Wolf Trap this week. I spoke with director Rob Reiner in 2017 when he came to D.C. to promote LBJ, as well as a rapid-fire run through his prolific filmography from Stand By Me to When Harry Met Sally to A Few Good Men. We're here with the one and only
Rob Reiner,
director of LBJ. Thanks so much for talking with us. Forgive a little of the clanking of dishes in the background. We did that on purpose. And I'll have what she's having, kind of a setting. So
yeah, we did it. It's Walla. It's movie Walla.
Walla. Yeah, there's an insider term for you. All right. Well, I wanted to talk about your choice to focus mostly on the Civil Rights Bill, because let's face it, that's his greatest domestic achievement. My favorite line of the movie, and they say, how many administrations have been trying to get this thing passed, and but this time they're not fighting one president, they're fighting two. Right. And let me get the quote right. Never underestimate the intensity of a martyr's cause, that's Kennedy, or the size of a Texan's balls, that's LBJ. Right. So just talk to that idea of how, historically they were situated against this uphill battle that people have tried to pass before with the civil rights, and now the fact that they have these two presidents, one dead, one living, that can finally get this over the finish line.
Right, and I think for Johnson, he was the consummate legislator, and he knew when to move on a piece of legislation. He would never put anything on the floor of the Congress unless he knew he had the votes. And up until that point, he knew he didn't. And he was actually fighting the Kennedy administration, who wanted to get it passed. And he said, if you put it on the floor, it will never become law. But, unfortunately, a horrible tragedy occurs, and he understands the power of that and can get it done. And he knew also that he was going to be spending an enormous amount of political capital to do it, because he was going to lose the Southern Democrats. And he said very famously, the South is going to be gone to the Democrats for a generation. Turned out it was many more generations than that. So it was risky even when he decided to do it, but he was able to push it through.
Absolutely. And speaking of JFK, talk about your decision. I thought it was a smart one to sort of intercut the horrific days of Dallas. Instead of doing it, chronologically like maybe a TV movie would do or something, how it's more dynamic to kind of intercut that flashing forward and back.
Well, the main goal was to be able to convey who Johnson really was. Everybody has this image of Lyndon Johnson as this kind of bull in the china shop, arm-twisting, tough guy who barked out orders. But he also had a very sensitive side. He was very insecure, and he was paralyzed at times in terms of making decisions. And so we wanted to show all of that, and the best way to show that was the incredible pressure that was on him to have to assume the presidency in that moment in time. And especially when you had a president who was beloved, and Johnson never felt that he could live up to the Kennedys, never felt he would be loved like the Kennedys. And so we wanted to show that moment and to explore who Johnson really was.
It's perfect because it totally, it gives us viewers a hook from those tragic memories, but it, like you're saying, for his character arc, that really feeds into his own insecurity the whole time. So I thought it was great. Why Woody? Was he always the first choice?
Yes, he was. And a lot of people, when they hear this, they go, Woody Harrelson? LBJ?
Wait till you see it, guys. It works.
Yes, yeah. And that's exactly what I say to them. I said, wait till you see it. First of all, I wanted somebody from Texas. But more than that, I wanted somebody, because we were going to try to create a full three-dimensional picture of LBJ, I wanted somebody who could represent his humanity, his sense of humor, his sensitivity, all of that, and the strength that he had. So Woody was the perfect guy. He's a brilliant actor, and way Lucy.
It kind of ties off of what you were saying, or piggybacks off that. But it's not some boring political drama. It is hilarious at times. You guys are really going to be in for a treat. Talk about how you sort of captured that side of him with talking to his aides through the bathroom door open. Sort of some of the more brash elements. Is that why you went with Woody, because he could kind of pull off that, but also the serious moments?
Yes, Woody has a great sense of humor, and Lyndon Johnson had a great sense of humor. Lyndon Johnson was larger than life. He did crazy things like conducting meetings while he was in the toilet and
close the door.
Close the
Bad
door.
idea.
Yeah. So he had all of that, and there's many recordings of we have the scene where he's ordering his pants from his tailor from his office, and it's all true. These are actual things that Johnson, and he was crass, as they say.
Yeah, talk about his relationship with Lady Bird, which not to be confused with the new Greta Gerwig movie. Nice cross promotion you got going on there. Yeah. But Jennifer Jason Leigh, just talk about how she was sort of the rock, and there's some really poignant scenes where she's the one saying, it's what does she say? She related that when he asked her to marry her, you had to have asked or I would have never done it, right. And how that relates into him taking the lead to run for president.
She was a strength for him, and we showed this film at the LBJ Library, and Lucy Baines was there, and after we finished, I asked her, what did you think? I was so nervous, and she said, the man I saw on the screen tonight was the man I knew. And she said, you also captured the relationship with my mother and father, because Lady Bird was a source of tremendous strength for Lyndon. He was frightened, and many times he at times didn't feel his mother loved him. It was a conditional kind of love, only if he was doing the right thing. And so he was filled with doubts, and she helped him find his spine, and was able to, then he, made the decisions he made. Once he was kicked into gear, he was off to the races, right. But many times he was paralyzed by his fear.
Talk about his sort of rivalry with Bobby Kennedy, because that's baked in the cake. Once JFK is killed, that's baked in the cake. There, he's got his eye on the presidency too, and probably would have gotten it too if he wasn't killed as well. But talk about how those two sort of butted heads throughout their administration.
They never got along. Yeah. Bobby Kennedy and LBJ never got along. They didn't like each other. They came from different worlds, and Bobby, it's no secret, didn't want LBJ on the ticket with JFK, and it was JFK and the father, Joe Kennedy, who didn't even tell Bobby because they knew he would be furious about it.
And you say that in the movie too.
Yeah, we do say that in the movie, and so he was an antagonist. I mean, all the great things that Bobby Kennedy was, when he related to LBJ, they were enemies.
Absolutely. Related to today's leadership, we both know where we're going with this.
Well, I mean, the other thing about LBJ is that he was steeped in government, policy, and politics. And you have to have an understanding of those three things and the intersection of those three things in order to move an agenda forward. He understood that in his bones. We have a president now who not only doesn't understand any of those things, but has no interest in wanting to understand any of those things. And so, as divided as we have been, we are, if not more divided now, with a leader who doesn't have a clue as to how to even begin to unite us.
And I'm pretty sure they're giving me the go home pretty soon. So whenever we have some famous filmmakers like yourself in town, I want to spend the most of the interview talking about this. But in the end, I try to wrap up with a little rapid fire on your filmography, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, and it can be one word or a couple phrases or something like that.
I'll do my best.
All right. All in the Family.
All in the Family, great experience. Was like getting a master's degree in show business for me.
Bunker you.
Yeah.
This is Spinal Tap.
There's a fine line between stupid and clever.
And 11. Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, from a personal standpoint, probably the most important film for me.
Love it. Great movie. I'm going chronologically in my head. Princess Bride.
Inconceivable how well that film has survived the ages.
Yeah, I've heard you've excused yourself when Billy Crystal was doing the medieval Yiddish. That's great.
Yes, I ruined a few takes, actually.
One of my favorite romantic comedies of all time, When Harry Met Sally.
Yes, can women and men be friends? That was the question we asked. I still don't know the answer to that.
I love it. And your mom is in the diner scene, right?
Yes, I'll have what she's having. My mother says that, the funniest line of any movie I've made. And if you go to Katz's Deli, where we shot, you can sit at the table.
Ooh, Misery.
Misery. he didn't get out of the cock-a-doodle car. That was what she said. I'm going to put on all my Liberace records. She was so excited.
Oh, the hobbling still gets me. A Few Good Men.
Few Good Men. Of course, you can't handle the truth, but also the great experience of working with Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise and a great cast, and Aaron Sorkin, brilliant writer.
And speaking of Sorkin, let's just wrap it up here. American President.
I'm Andrew Shepard, and I am the president.
And right now, Mr. Reiner, you are near DuPont Circle, still circling.
Yeah, you can't get off of DuPont Circle.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. Everybody, again, check out LBJ. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the D.C. area is great, and Podcast D.C. gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast D.C. is the new local app with hundreds of D.C. area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast D.C.